Morning to everyone. So, I am Academic Counselor H. Biswas. So, today MMPH 017, that is a Advanced Strategic Management. So, now today actually we have to discuss about the block number 2. So, they are the corporate level growth strategy. So, in this strategy there are 3 units, unit number 3, 4 and 5. So, unit number 3 is the intensive growth strategies, that is unit number 3. 4 is integration and diversification growth strategies, and unit number 5 is your strategic alliances. So, all these 3 units that we have to discuss today. Now, first try to understand what is the intensive growth strategy within these things. What are the structure of the units that we have to see? That is structure of the growth of the corporate strategies, then your nature of the stability strategy, then your expansion strategies, expansion through your intensifications, and expansion through integrations and international expansions. So, this is the content of the unit number 3. So, there we have to clear the idea what are the strategy management. Basically, the management strategic management deals with the issues, different issues in the company, and what are the concepts, theories, approaches, and the action choices, what type of action to be taken, and they are related to your organization and in line with your organization's conditions, and obviously it is in line with also external environment. So, based on these, we have to prepare some of the objectives. I mean, you have to formulate the things, directions are required, then finally the objectives, and how to utilize the resources and how to disposal of these things, and finally the objectives and the tactics are to be followed, and we have to reach the set goals, which are the goals already decided. So, accordingly we have to employ them, have to employ your resources, the manpower and other resources accordingly. So, this is basically the strategic management purposes. Now, there again it is bifurcated, different action wise strategies. This is one of the corporate level strategy. Corporate level strategy, basically your corporations in a very wider, in a very broad sense, they have to decide the line of directions of the company. They have to decide. That is basically your corporate strategies. Now, competitive strategy to build up the employees, to build up the resources and the procedure, type, methods, everything, so that we can align with the corporate strategies and to meet the goals. So, that is and see the competitive market also. So, that is a competitive strategy, product also. And then functional strategy is basically again it is what are the basic functions are theirs, that they have some certain strategy to fulfill the objectives of the company. So, that is why basically there are 3 levels we can the strategy we can see. One of the corporate level strategy, then your competitive strategies, and your functional strategies. That is the way we can labelize the things. So, corporate strategy, as I said, that is a concern with the broad and the long term functions. Long term, what will be the company's, what type of product is required, and how we can achieve these things, market. That is basically you have to see the consideration, the line of business basically, and the product and market. These three things are to be keep in mind at the time of corporate strategies. Then competitive strategy, the decisions, what are the determine how the firm will compete in a specific business environment or within the business industries. That is your competitive strategies. Functional strategy, as I said, same thing. There some of those functions, the decisions determine how the firm will compete in a specific business or the industries. There are some certain divisions are there. So all the divisions are different functionalities there, and that strategy are to be formulated. Now growth, basically the corporate strategy levels, if we consider the corporate level strategies, they are typically consist of the three key elements. One thing, growth or the directional strategies. As I said, you have to give a direction to the company. Now here actually I am go little deeper. Now one by one. Initially I am giving some outline of the things. Now I am trying to define the things slowly. Now growth of or the directional strategies, which outlines the growth objectives of the organizations. Portfolio strategy, that is another thing. Portfolio is where the allotted, it is involved the managing organizations, the portfolio of the business to create the value over the long terms. So that in the long term you can get some values of the companies and developing the business units. That is your portfolio strategies. Then corporate penetrating strategies, which aims to capture the valuable cross business strategy, fits a portfolio of the business and turn them into competitive advantage. So finally the portfolio, what are the value of the things, it will give a competitive advantage. Slowly it leads to competitive advantages. So this is basically the penetrating the parenting strategy. That is a corporate parenting strategy where you have to parenting the what are the strategy has been formulated, and it leads to the create the value, and it leads to your competitive market. So nature and the scope of corporate strategies. Growth is essential for an organizations, because even any organizations requires some of the growth should be there. The organizations go through an inevitable progressions from growth through the maturity. So revival and your eventually decline. Now there are four types of generic corporate strategies are there. That is your stability strategies, is to make no change to the company's current activities. That is the stability. That means everything are stable in a stable stage. Statistics, when there no required any modification or whatever the things. So now growth strategies, they expand the company's activities. Retrenchment strategies, they reduce the company's level of activities. Combine the strategies, a combination of above strategies. These all are the footnotes of the particular area. Now stability strategy is when a firm maintains its current business, so current business is maintaining, and product portfolios. Whatever the product, there is no changes, nothing, and maintaining the portfolio as it is, and maintain the existing level of effort, and is satisfied with the incremental growth. Now it focuses on the fine tuning its business operations and improving the functional efficiencies through greater deployment of the resources. Large firms usually combine stability with the other strategies. Those are big company, they can also to make these things, they can combine the things like this way. The specific players also prefer this strategy for the same reasons. Conditions favoring the stability strategy, rationale for using the stability strategy, approaches to stability strategy, holding strategies, stable growth strategy, harvesting strategies, profit or end game strategies. These all are some specific area. Now, expansion strategies is allow the enterprises to maintain their competitive positions in rapidly growing markets and are adopted to accelerate the rate of growth and the sales profits and market share by entering new markets, acquiring new resources, developing new technologies and creating new managerial capabilities. Advantages: the organizations gain a greater control over the immediate environment because of its size. This influence is crucial for survival in the nature markets where the competitions aggressively defend their market shares. Now, expansion through the intensifications. So, that intensification involves the expansion within the existing line of business. Intensive expansion, that is strategy, involves your safeguarding the present position and expanding in the current product market space to achieve the growth, growth targets. Such an approach is very useful for enterprises that have not fully exploited the opportunities existing in their current product market domain. And Shop's product market expansion grid, the product market grid first presented by the Igor Ansap is in 1968. It has proven to be very useful in discovering the growth opportunities. This grid best illustrates the various intensification options available to a firm. The product market grid has two dimensions, namely products and markets. The integration strategy involves the expanding externally by combining with the other firms. So, combination involves a set of integrations among different firms and is essential, driven by need for survival and also for growth by building the synergies. The combination of firms may take the merger or consolidations route. Merger implies a combination of two or more concerns into one final entity. The merged concerns go out of existence and their assets of the land, the liabilities, so are taken over by the acquiring company. I think all these things part are, I think, already if you go through the previous lessons, I mean, and I think MMPC 012, that is strategic management, there are also the same chapter and topics are already there. Now, it is little advanced versions, mostly the basic things are same. Here actually some of the details they are discussing. So, acquisition, merger, acquisition, joint venture, everything already is basic things for your strategic management part that already discussed in previous sessions. If you observe, you can get it. So, a consolidation is a combination of two or more business units to form an entirely the new corporations. Now, firm has integrated to why the firm is integrating, what is the necessity, but what is the benefits we can see. because it is increasing the market share, and avoid the cost of the developing new products internally and bringing them to the market. Because suppose I have some tie-up with some other companies, I have already joined with other companies. So initially I planned I have to also manufacture these items, but already my partner is already have these products. So you need not to go, ultimately when you are joint ventures by acquisition, whatever the things, the way or mergers. So I will get the share of the market values. So when I backed up, so that case is need not to go through the new product, manufacturing for the new product or bringing them in the market. So it is already exist by the other partners. So reduce the risks of the entering the new business, because if I join some other company, I am not capable of that much markets, but I join hand with some big companies, merge with some big companies. So then that case I can reduce the risks of the entering the new business, speed up the process of entering in the market, and parallelly I can speed up the things by helping the partner companies or joint companies like this, become more diversified, and the chances of diversification will be more. So quite possible to reduce the intensity of competitions by taking over the competitors' business. So these all are the firms use the integration. For the integration, if we integrate the things, that type of facilities and opportunity will be there. Now there are many forms of integrations, but the two major ones are vertical and horizontal integrations. So vertical integrations, the vertical refers to the integration of the firms involved in different stages of the supply chain. So in different supply chains you are integrating this way. So it is basically the vertical integrations. In the case of horizontal combination, the acquisition of the additional business in the same line of the business or at the same level of the value chain combining with the competitors is referred to as a horizontal, means parallel, just side by side parallels. So that is why it is a horizontal, we can say it. Vertical integrations is basically for supply chain one after one. So it is, that is why it is a vertical integrations. So now benefits of the horizontal integrations. The following are the same benefits of the horizontal integrations, that is economics of the scale achieved by selling more of the same product. For example, by geographic expansion, the economics of the scope achieved by sharing the resources common to different products, commonly referred to as a synergize. Now another point is increased bargaining power, increase the bargaining power over the suppliers and downstream channel members. These all are the benefits. Reduction in the cost of global operations made possible by operating plants in foreign markets. That is the one of the major advantage, or we can say the benefits. Synergy achieved by using the same brand name to promote the multiple products. So branding or synergies means what are the things, common people, common market, you can have a branding the same things. So then some of the hazards of the horizontal integrations that also we have to see, and organizations can expand internationally through various strategies. International expansion involves the establishing the significant market interest and operation outside a company's home country. Foreign markets provide the additional sale opportunities for a firm that may be constrained by the relatively small size of its domestic market. and also reduces the firm's dependencies on a single national market. Now, international expansion is fraught with the various risks such as political risks, that is instability of the host countries, and the economic risks, the fluctuations in the value of the country's currency, that is also another issue. International expansion increases coordinations and the distribution cost, and managing a global enterprise entails problems of the overcoming trade barriers, logistic cost, cultural diversity, etc. Then expansion into foreign markets can be achieved through exporting, licensing, joint venture, and direct investment. So, all this the way we can expand the marketways, foreign market. Now, managing the global supply chain to enhance the competitiveness. Logistic capabilities are very much crucial for successful global operations, as they involve the coordinated international flow of goods, information, cash, and work processes. Optimizing the global supply chain operations can cut the delivery times and cost drastically. I just highlighted the important area where it is emphasizing the things, and improve the global competitiveness. Smart supply chain planning may result in locating the facilities where they make the most logical sense, while the saving of taxes. So, this is the better than simply locating where the labor is cheapest. Yes, everything are depend on the where the you can get again cheapest labor, but where taxes and other costs may be most favorable. So, most of the Gulf countries, they are there is no tax. So, that is that all these points are to be considered, where the basically the profit margin can be sufficient. Now, I go for integration and diversification growth strategies, unit number 4. That is again these units we have to see the related diversification, that are concentric diversifications, then unrelated diversification, and your rationale of the diversifications, alternative routes. Suppose for the you have to see the another routes of the business, mergers and acquisitions, and then your strategy of the things, and reasons for failure of the mergers and acquisitions, why the companies fail sometimes, that strategy that mergers and acquisition process are not appropriate. Then steps of the merger and acquisition deals, and how to success. So, for that some of the steps are there that we have to follow it for a successful acquisitions. And the merger and acquisition in the Indian scenario, that in Indian conditions, what are the scenario, that also we have to see in these units. So, in this unit is important in this way. So, now diversifications. So, diversification is basically is a strategy that involves the expanding into the new lines of business, where a company has reached the limits of growth using the vertical and horizontal growth strategies within its current industry. When the company's growth are reaching in that point, or we can say that is the threshold points, then you have to take some of the strategy what to do. Shall we expand the things, we have to join ventures, or we can go for the acquisitions, we can go for the merge. So, some thought process is required. That is the point we can say, that is a diversification strategies. So, you have to decide what to do. So, there are two types of diversifications. Concentric, it is appropriate when a company has a strong competitive positions. If the company has a good positions in the competitive positions, so that is your concentric type of strategy. Rather, I can say the diversification process are to be concentric way. Another is your conglomerates. It is a suitable when the current industry is unattractive and the company lacks exceptional capabilities or skills is related product of the services. So, the condition is not good conditions, skill wise, product wise, market wise, it is not that. So, there definitely have to go for joint hand with some of the big companies for the survival mode or all these things. Earlier one, the concentrics means your condition is very good, no harm about it, but how long? That you reach this point, your growth is now likely to be stagnant, and you are now you have to think what to do. You go for a new product, launches new product, or you can export the things, you can enter in the other countries, you can start a new business. So, that is you have to divert the things. Now, related to diversification, your concentric diversifications. The company expands into a related industry that shares synergies with existing lines of the business, such as your technology, your customers, distribution, location, product and manufacturing similarities, and the government assets. So, all these things you have to consider it. Another type of concentric diversification is your technology related, and which the firm employs similar technology to manufacture new products. Addition to for example, like this tomato ketchup and sauce to the existing is the Maggi brand, processed items of the good specialist limited. So, here you see there are two things, you have to start these things, and is an intense of the technology related concentric diversification. Now, the second one, that is your conglomerate diversification, is a growth strategy in which a company aims to expand by adding the unrelated products and markets to its business. When a company consists of various business from unrelated streams, it is called a conglomerate. Means there is not a similar type of products, different. Now, in India, a large number of companies diversified their operations following economic liberalizations. The Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers Limited has diversified from fertilizers to personal transport. It is not a similar, different type of chemicals and electronic industries, while Arvind Group hitherto confined the textiles, diversified into unrelated activities such as manufacturing of agro products for your horticulture and your export of the fresh fruits. So, this is the example of this type of diversifications. Now, see the rationale for diversifications. An efficient market theory, there is no convincing rationales for your one company to acquire the another, especially it is less efficient for unrelated business. However, imperfect markets often lead to diversifications for the various reasons such as given below. This is your economics of the scale and scope, that is synergy, widen market base and they enhance the market power, then your profit stability, improve the financial performance, growth, counter competitive threats, and access to latest technologies and regulatory factors. Now, alternative route of the diversifications. What are the alternative routes? Once a firm opts for diversification, it must select one of the options and discuss below like this. There are three broad ways to implement the diversification strategies. Number one, that is your mergers and acquisitions, strategic partnering, joint ventures. That is the major three. Then after that, long term contract is also there, and strategic alliances. These all are here actually showing the 5, but actually there are 3 things: merger and acquisition, strategic partner, and the joint ventures. Mostly these 3 type of diversifications we have come across. Now, mergers and the acquisitions theories, basically different form of the mergers. There are whole host of the different mergers. It is depending on the relationship between the two companies that are merging, and these are your horizontal merger. That case, the merger of the two companies that are in a direct competitions in the same product categories in the market. That's why it is horizontally. Now, vertical merger is merger of your two companies which are in different stages of the supply chain. So, this is also referred to as a vertical integrations. A company taking over its supplier's firm, or a company is taking control of its distribution by acquiring the business of its distributors or the channel partners, is the example of the type of the mergers. Now, reason for failure, that is a very important question. Normally in the exam time it is coming, why the failure of the mergers and acquisitions. Describe the things. So, basically the record of the merger and acquisition worldwide, the world over, has not been impressive. Advocates of the merger and acquisitions argue that they boost revenues to justify the price minimum. The notion of the synergy, that is 1 plus 1 is 3, so it sounds great, but the assumptions behind these notions are too simplistic. The successful diversification would involve a well thought strategy in selecting a target, avoiding overpaying, creating value in the integrations process, the potential pitfalls that a firm is likely to encounter during the diversification, that is which include basically integration difficulties, faulty assumptions, because initially if you take some of the assumptions and which are totally faulty, then it may carry over. I mean, it will carry on and it will be a cascading effect will be there. So, failure to carry out the effective due diligence, then your inordinate increase in depth, then too much diversifications, problems in making merger and acquisition work. So, these all are the reason behind it. Now, steps in merger and acquisition deals, how to deal it and what are the steps are required. So, a firm that intends to take over another one must determine whether the purchase will be beneficial to the firm. To do so, it must evaluate the real worth of being the acquired. Logically speaking, both sides of the merger and acquisitions have different ideas about the worth of target company. The seller will tend to value the company as high as possible, while the buyer will try to get the lowest price possible. So, that type of bargaining process will be there. The most common method is to look at the comparable companies in the industry, but a variety of other methods and the tools are used to value the target company. The few of them are listed, some of the companies. Comparative ratios, that is P versus E, price to earnings ratios, then PS, price to sales ratio, then replacement cost, replacement, then synergy. Now, the steps in merger and acquisition deals, what are the steps are there? The basic steps in mergers and acquisitions are initial offer by the intending buyer. You have to give us some offer, because and you have to give us some your quotations or values. In such you have to cost, basically the costings. Responses from the target company, accept the terms of the offers, then attempt to negotiate. First, when you after the scrutinize, you can select some of the and you have to accept the things, some of the offer, and finally go for the negotiations. So, attempt to negotiate, execute a positions, poison pill. So, what are the problematic areas or some other hostile takeover defense, then find a white knight and go for these things, and closing the deal. Finally, you have to close the deal. Merger and acquisition, there is an Indian scenario. In Indian scenario, what is the conditions are like this? The mergers and acquisitions have become an important strategy for Indian companies in recent years, seeing the global conditions. The slow takeoff of the merger and acquisitions in India was due to the reluctance of the Indian promoters to sell their business, as it was considered a failure. However, this situation changed in the 90s when the Tatas sold Tramco and Lakshmi. Nowadays, merger and acquisition has become a compelling necessity for the Indian companies to counter the effects of the globalizations, declining tariff barriers, price decontrols, and to please the ever demanding customers. So, that is the conditions. So, now are likely to be merger and acquisition will be more. In the near future also, in India, not only in India, globally you can see lot of companies are to be joint ventures, so that they can have a good market, especially for the to capture the international market. You have to tie up lot of by means anyway, joint ventures, acquisitions, or your merger acquisition, what are the process. So, conditions are not vibrant, busy worldwide. And the recent conditions, I think everybody are aware of what is going on, the tariff wars is going on. So, that is why it may be and in the case of India also, we have to take a lot of acquisition, merger is required. So, in the recent years, merger and acquisition activity has increased in India, with many companies using it to expand their business, acquire the new customers, gain new skill sets, and assess the new markets. So, all this way, that is the unit number 4 is now complete. Now, we have to go for the unit number 5, that is your strategic alliances. Now, we have to talk about the alliances. There in this unit, there are strategic alliances trends, what are the trends is going on, then factors promoting the rise of the strategic alliances, type of alliances, benefits of the strategic alliances, cost and risks of the strategic alliances, factors we have to see it, then planning for a successful alliances, and corporate social responsibility. So, these all are the contents of this particular unit, or rather I can say the structure of the units. Now see Gallo, the world's largest producers of wine, does not grow a single grape. You see, they are not single grapes. And likewise Nike, the world's largest producers of the athletic footwear, Nike shoes everybody knows, but does not manufacturing a single shoe. Boeing, the giant aircraft manufacturers, makes little more than cockpits and your wing bits as per the Queen 1995 as per the report. So from software to steel, aerospace to apparels, the space of the strategic alliances worldwide is accelerating. So strategic alliances, broadly defined as the arrangement in which two organizations conjoined to pursue common interests, are a rapidly growing phenomena in the contemporary business environment. So alliances represent the strategic responses to the powerful forces, to deregulation, globalizations, technological change, and time to market concerns. So strategic alliances is an agreement between the firms to the business together in ways that go beyond the normal company to company dealings. So there is an increasing trend towards multi-company alliances. For instance, a 6-company strategic alliances was formed between Apple, Sony, Motorola, then your Philips, AT&T, and your Matsushita, to form a general magic corporations to develop the telescript communications software. So you see the number of it is more and more than now. Here the stand is the 6-company strategic alliances. So this is one of the examples. Sent strategic responses to the powerful forces of the deregulation, globalizations, technological change, and time to market concerns. So according to Peter F. Drucker's, the management guru, we can say the guru, the greatest change in corporate culture and the way business is being conducted is the accelerating growth of relationships based not on ownerships but on partnerships. So Drucker is saying in 1996, he has defined the things. According to a survey by the global consulting major Booz, Allen and Hamilton's, strategic alliances are spreading in every industry and are becoming an essential driver of the superior growth. The number of alliances in the world is surging because it is now increasing basically. The survey also reveals that more than 20% of the revenue generated from the top 2000 US and Europe countries now comes from alliances, with more predicted in the near futures. So these same companies also earned higher strategic alliances return on investment, that is called the ROI, return on investment, and return on equity, ROE, on their alliances than from their core business. So, it is a statistics and survey report is there, where it is now written. Now, what are the factors promoting the rise of the strategic alliances? Why it is increasing? Why should I go for the alliance of the strategic alliances? Since 1980s, strategic alliances have been very popular. Alliances can be a powerful tool, particularly in today's world, due to the need to build the differential capabilities in more areas than a company has resources or time to develop. It is becoming more difficult for organizations to remain the self-sufficient in an internal business environment that demands both focus and flexibility. As the companies are increasing the feeling the effects of the global competitions, they are trying to achieve a sustainable competitive advantage through strategic alliances. So, this are highlighting point, because the present they feel the effect of the global competitions, and that competition are different type nature of the competitions. So, that is why the alliances are required. The alliances approach better matches and response to the uncertainties and complexities of today's globalized business environment. So, we can survive. Basically, some of the times, because the world economy is going so fast, so to catch up the things, situation technologically, market wise, sometimes you have to give some alliances with the other companies, because it may not be possible to run faster than the situations. So, you have to practice some of the strategies required basically. That is called, that is why these subjects are required for the as a business point of view, as a management students. So, if we they are confident, we can do it, no problem, but it may take some long times. By the time market scenario will be changed. So, you have to predict, you have to assess your conditions, where you are now, you are really capable to capture the market or not. If it is not there, it is not a harm. You have to align some of the other companies, those who are capable already in the market, or jointly you can do it, align the things, so that you can run faster and reach there in time. That is basically the idea of this strategy. Now, the factors promoting the rise of the strategic alliances for the partnering in frequently quicker and less costly, while avoiding the difficult and the time consuming your internal changes. So, partnering allows the company to watch other things. There is a rapidly, that is why actually I am explaining the things, same thing I just repeat in other way. So, rapidly move to decisively size opportunities before they disappear. So, you can capture the opportunity, respond more quickly to change with a greater flexibility, increase market share, gain access to a new market or beat others to the market, quickly shore up the international weakness, gain a new skill or area of the competence, succeed all through the company is a lacks key resources. So, it is one of the another point is, suppose if you are lacking some of the resources, that is also very much advantageous for if you go for the alliances. So, now the type of strategic alliances. Now, I have to discuss about the type. There are several types of the strategic alliances that companies can enter into, that are ranging from simple short term arrangements to more complex partnerships where the companies combine their resources and assets. The simplest form of strategic alliances is a contractual agreement, which is appropriate when a formal management structure is not required. Then there are three broad type of strategic alliances. One is licensing arrangements, agreements, joint ventures, cross holding, equity stocks, and the consolidated. Then strategic alliances have become a key tool. Now benefit, basically now I am talking about the benefit of the alliances. Say it is a basic tools, key rules for the business in the new economy to gain a competitive edges by the assessing the partners resources such as your markets, technology, capital and the people, because when you are merging with some other company, so you have to see your conditions and their conditions also, where the market, the technology point of view and capitals, people, everything you have to consider it. Fast growth technology companies often form the strategic alliances to benefit from the established channel of distributions, marketing or the brand reputation of the larger and better known players. So, it is needed to alliance to reach the market, because ultimately alliance focus should be your market only, your market share will be increased or not, and definitely the profit is another issues that also have to see the or survive of the companies. So, firms often enter into alliances based on opportunity rather than linkages with their overall goals. The risk is greatest when a company has a surplus of cash. In recent year, the Mercedes-Benz and the Toyota Motor Corporation have been investing surplus funds into seeming unrelated business, with Benz already facing difficulties as a result. So, they are thus free to concentrate on the innovation and their core business, entering new markets, reducing the manufacturing cost, developing and diffusing the technology, reduce the financial risks and share cost of the research and the development, then achieve of or ensure the competitive advantage. So, it is some of the case of your Mercedes and the Toyota, what they are promoting or they are investing all these things to, so that they can some innovative part, basically the innovation of the concentrations, how so that they can enter in the new market and especially for the survival, and what are the surplus money they can utilize it. So, cost and risks of the strategic alliances. Now, what are the risks are there? So, when companies decide to form the strategic alliances, they need to weigh the benefits against the cost and the risks associated with such decisions. When you are taking the decisions to join somebody or something, alliances. So, two things you have to keep in mind. One thing is the cost and the risks. What are the risks of theirs? So, while alliances can provide the access to new resources and capabilities, there are potential drawbacks to consider. For instance, loss of operational control, confidentiality, cultural differences are also there, and conflicts in interest may pose the challenges to the success of an alliances. When the two companies are alliancing, both. The cultural difference will be there. Now, cultural diversity or cultural differences, how to reduce, how to minimize, that is a big challenge. If it is failure there, then productivity and other things will be suffer. So, one of the major hurdles in forming the strategic alliances is overcoming the cultural and the language barriers. So, miscommunication and the misunderstandings can hinder the process, the progress, and lead to delays and the frustrations. Now, the cost and risks of the strategic alliances. Thus, the flexibility and the management learning are essential tools to overcome the cultural barriers in strategic alliances, because the learning is one of the things, the learning and development is required to cope up the cultural barriers. Then lack of trust, loss of autonomy, lack of clear goals and objectives, then lack of coordination between the management teams. It is a risk area, basically it is all a risk area, or other way we can say that is the area to be developed, rather than we can say that is the area to be focused, more focused, problematic areas. Lack of coordination between the management and teams, differences in management styles, lack of commitment, creating a potential competitors, problems of the coordination and the loss of agility, then potential for the conflicts and difficulty in managing alliances and other issues. Now, the factors contributing to successful strategic alliances. So, what are the factors are very much required so that we can have a successful strategic alliances? Main thing is senior management commitment. It is all a requirement, or I can say it is all mandatory for successful strategic alliances. Similarity of the management philosophies. So, what are the philosophies that should be similarity should be there? Different units manager and other unit manager, those alliances are different philosophy, then it may be create a problem. So, should be this. Then clearly defined and shared goals of the objectives. Whatever the goals are there, that should be communicated and clear, is defined. The definition of the objectives, everything are to be defined. Differences in management styles. So, what are the management styles should be common? One styles. It may be a variation depending on the situations where he is maybe field or maybe in the design or maybe in the manufacturers. So, leadership skills are to be broadly seen common for everywhere. Then thorough planning. Planning is very much needed. Thorough planning is required. Then clearly understood the roles and global conditions. Global conditions are condition and the visions also, and partner selections. Communication between the partners, maintaining the relationships is important, because here the culture and other things are relationships is one of the very major things. So, both the alliances should be good relationships should be there. There should not be any ego or any what are the problems that should be negotiated and the bargaining through this bargaining process. Now, planning for a successful alliances. Large companies are increasingly relying on alliances to conduct the business from product development to marketing. So, this is due to the interdependence of the world and the growing importance of the cooperation in business. So, instead of the relying solely on internal capabilities, so companies are moving towards in open systems that involves the external entities and the complex relationships. So, as per the present scenario, it is very much fitted. Now, the following checklists, some of the checklists are there, identifies the key issues to consider when the contemplating the entering into the strategic alliances. What are the things? Choosing the partners carefully. You have to carefully choose the partners. Then clarity of the purpose. Select the project, understand and formulate. Balancing the contribution of the partners. Complete trust is required. Participation in the top and freedom to improve, innovate and have a exit strategies. So, some of the increasing importance are there in the market. There are supply chains factors, address the your cultures, and this area are to be child labor conditions probably not an issue because of they do not arise. So, different organizations have a different attitudes are there, and so the criteria has to be seen. Now in the last slides, that is, a company can also extend the corporation society social responsibility to supporting the programs that may not directly impact their current business, but could benefit them in the future of the for the goodwill in the future projects. So, this is the way now block 2 is now complete. So, we have to looking forward for the next session, block number 3 we have to see in the next sessions. So, okay, thank you.